another week of I Hate Fantasy Football. It is still I Hate Fantasy Football, as one of us hates it a little less than the other this week.
One game less.
One of us is riding a winning streak. One of us is sinking into a losing streak. Just saying. I am the captain. Next to me is, as always, Crazy MFJR. So there was a message out on the message board this week, which I didn't see until a couple days later.
Because nobody looks at the message board.
Well, as Tom puts it, it's his own personal notepad at this moment.
We all text message, but the message board is fun too.
That's right. So Tom threw out there that he wants to change up the divisions. I would have to say that that's probably not going to happen. I like the idea of changing it up. I like Josh. I like your idea.
I think it'd be fun if the winner of the league gets to pick one team that's in his division, and the runner-up in the league gets to pick another team that's in his division. Now, they could be in the same division. That's okay. If they want a rivalry going, that'd be interesting. But it'd also be interesting if they were in opposite divisions and they each picked one. Now, it isn't necessarily who was the worst the last year, but maybe who they think would be the worst going forward. Or they might just want to pick somebody just because they think it's funny to try to pick on somebody. You know, whether it's, Lisa could pick Tom, or Gus could pick Kevin, or, Jordan could not pick anybody because he'd auto-drafted. So, but I think it'd be fun.
Yeah, it could be fun. I like the idea, but I think we have to wait until the Empire Fund, the Empire League, all that's done.
Sure.
When we start up again, I think a lot of new rules might get put into play, and that could definitely be one of them.
Sure.
But I think we got to ride this out for a little bit. It's only going to be a couple more years before somebody wins it twice. So I think we'll just... No. I think we'll just keep going with the way it is. Tom, great idea. Let's bring it up again when we reset.
Okay.
So we're coming up here to week 5.
Yep.
What are some good matchups, Josh?
I think it's interesting because there are 3 separate matchups of 2-2 teams. I play Ryan. We're both 2-2.
Those seem like very 2 different 2-2 teams.
I think so too, but we're still both 2-2.
Yes, you are.
Lisa plays Wahlberger. They're both 2-2. I think that one's pretty interesting. And then Jeff plays Keitel, who is also 2-2. And they're kind of roller coastering, one up, one down each week, so that'll be interesting as well. After this week, we'll have a little bit more clarity as to who's going to try to take a lead and who's going to be from behind. So it'll be a little bit interesting in that regard.
I'm going to bring down the undefeated.
I hope so.
Be like Rey Mysterio, the Giant Killer.
Yes.
Yeah, that's going to be me.
Sure.
Can't believe I remembered that.
I didn't.
All right, moving on.
Yep.
This is our bye weeks are kind of hitting us hard this week. I mean, it hit Gus hard last week, and he didn't survive. Bye weeks this week, though. What do we got?
So there are 4 teams on the bye, all of which have a number of fantasy-relevant players. Kansas City is off, so there's probably 2 or 3 players at least there that are off. New Orleans is off. That's going to be Breeze and everybody's favorite Brandon Cooks, and everybody's also favorite Fleener. Seattle's going to be off, so that's a defense and Russell Wilson and some running backs and probably a couple receivers and maybe a hot tight end. He's going to be off, and then Jacksonville is going to be off too. So there's a couple receivers, a tight end, a quarterback, some iffy running backs there. Everybody's going to kind of need to fill in, and with limited bench space and a whole lot of starters, you're really going to have to pay attention to who you've got on your bench and who you're picking up off the waiver wire. So it might make waivers interesting, might not. I mean, maybe somebody will get dropped that you wouldn't think would be dropped, but that's soon to be seen.
I got my quarterback ready to replace Breeze. I picked up Wentz last week, so I'm good for that. I do
wish
feel
you
like
all the luck in the world with that one.
He's playing the Lions.
He's going to go for 40.
That's right. And Jeff, I was worried about Jeff. He's got quite a few people on bye this week, but then I saw, he's still got Derrick Henry on his team.
Oh.
He'll be fine.
That's a saving grace.
All right, that'll bring us to our viewer email portion of the show. We actually have 3 viewer emails this week.
Nice.
I think we're going to start with Jeff from Sonora/Cal, who plays in the LSHS Alumni League. Anyway, he's got a question. His first question, or his only question, was, how did my team score 100 plus fewer points this week than it did last week, and nobody was on a bye? Interesting question.
So I just talked about this. It's the Matt Ryan, Julio Jones versus Tevin Coleman and Devontae Freeman effect. When the running game's good, his team's good. When the passing game is good, his team's bad. And on the other side of that, he played me 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
And not last week.
So he scored his most points.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, great.
I think the Saints had a lot to do with that too.
It's partly it, but I put it more on me than anything else.
All right,
so.
sounds good. All right, our next email comes from I don't understand this name. It looks like Thomas. There's like an H in there. I don't know. Thomas from South Orange County.
Okay.
His question is: was this the lowest scoring week on record in the LSHS Alumni Fantasy Football League? He was looking at it. He said almost half the teams were under 100 points this week. Was it the lowest scoring points?
Not even close.
Oh.
The lowest scoring week in league history, it comes from week 8 in 2012. I went back and looked at all of our games for all the times we played together. Week 8, 2012, the entire league scored a combined 965.3 points. Giant scores. The leading scorer that week was actually Jordan Walberger with 114.1. The low scorer that week was Darren Meyer with 57.9. So, this week we scored a combined 1,092.8, so well over 100 points more than the lowest score ever. Now, just because I did all that, I went and looked. The highest scoring week in league history is week 3 of 2015, where we had a combined 1,298.1 points.
Almost 1,300 points.
It's a lot of points for a 10-team league. That week, the high score was Gus with 176.5. The second lowest score that week was Kevin with 104.4.
Second lowest score.
Second lowest.
Okay.
Now, the lowest scoring team that week was Thomas with 62.
That's like his average.
Nice job. And then just to go on that, the lowest score ever in a single week was Tom
As I figured.
in the Estrada Bowl last year with a whopping 41.7.
He almost hit the 30s.
Impressive. Now, the highest score...
Wait, did he start a full team?
I didn't look at the roster.
I
I
think he
just looked
started
at
a
the
full team.
score. If you didn't start a full team, that's on you. Now, what also is interesting, the highest score ever was Lisa in 2014, week 8, had 204.1 points.
I remember that week.
That's a big week.
Yeah, it sure was.
Who's going after that one?
Me. That was not supposed to be funny.
You know what's interesting about that, though? 2014, we only had 2 flexes, not 3. So she hit 204 points with 1 less player.
Yeah.
So it's tough to beat already, but it's even more impressive considering how she did it.
All right, good job, Lisa. All right, our last viewer email comes from one man who wrote us a book. It's quite a bit here. Bear with us as Josh goes through this email from the mysterious Jordan Keitel.
Here we go. After spending no time preparing and having half an autographed team, it only took me 4 weeks to tie or beat everyone except Kevin. I'm not saying fantasy football is easy. For me, my record says that all by itself. I have the 3rd highest points total on the season, just behind Josh and Kevin, despite the quarterback I drafted being injured, and the highest points against. I could easily be 3-1 right now. Tom's team has scored an embarrassing 392 points through 4 weeks. If you can't average 100 points starting 11 players, it might be time to quit playing altogether. Tom Brady is back, and that means Julian Edelman is about to get a lot better. My wide receivers are stupid good. How is Matt 500-plus yards Ryan sitting on waivers? Ryan and Tom are streaming dog quarterbacks, and the guy throwing to Julio Jones was just sitting out there? It's like they aren't even trying to win games. I don't understand. Darren's team is not as bad as his record suggests, and Kevin's team is way worse than his record. If Kevin didn't make the playoffs, I would not be surprised. Finally, please let everyone know that Hopkins is on the trading block if anyone is interested. He's a pretty low keeper, so bear that in mind when making offers. As always, worst of luck on the rest of the season. The once and future king, Jordan Keitel.
All right, that was pretty good. My favorite part about that, besides him telling you that my team wasn't as bad as it looks and that Kevin's is way overrated, is the fact that he was talking about Matt Ryan being so good Matt Ryan has been not good for so long, and Jordan has been behind his Falcon for so long. I'm so happy for him that it's finally working out. It only took 5 years. Yeah. That's why he was on waivers, because he's been terrible. Also, he says that DeAndre Hopkins is up for grabs.
He is.
You want to trade straight up Odell Beckham there?
No.
I thought it'd be good. They scored about the same amount this year.
Maybe Sterling Shepard. He's a low keeper too. Hit me up. Let me know.
All right. Trade block.
Yeah.
All right, that's going to wrap up another week of We Hate Fantasy Football.
Yep.
I am the captain. Sitting next to me is Crazy MFJR, and we'll see you next time.
Bye.
All right, so that's probably going to cut.
Yep.
All right, so let's go ahead and get into our rankings.
Okay.
Nope.
Standings.
Yep.
That's going to get cut too.
Yep.
That's the ice machine.
Oh, I got a ghost.
No ghost. This house too new for ghosts.
Okay. All right.
That's the water refilling the ice machine. I dumps the ice.
All right, give me a count. I need to count down this thing.
3,